All right, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. This is episode 100. I am totally jacked up, for this guest. And before I say his name, and I'm going to read off his accolades, and this might take me a couple of minutes because he's got so many. But this young man is originally from North Philadelphia, right? He graduated from Penn State with a degree in kinesiology, where he was a four-year letterman starter. He also got his master's degree in educational leadership and health education. But an offensive lineman on the Penn State football team from 1999 to 2002, right? All Big Ten,
Mhm.
played for the Cleveland Browns. Then he goes into the career path after his football days were over, coaching high school football in Pennsylvania and Florida. Then this is just so cool, is became the head of strength and conditioning at Cheyney University, became the assistant strength and conditioning coach at Penn State back at his alma mater, which was cool. Then became the director of strength and conditioning and the offensive line coach at Clark Atlanta University. And this guy just kept moving up the ranks. Then became the assistant and a strength and conditioning coach at the University of Georgia, the Bulldogs, right? Then the director of strength and conditioning at the University of Miami, which
Mhm.
is crazy. Then player development coach at Georgia Tech.
Mhm.
Again, all these huge football schools. And then athletic director at the Bethlehem Christian Academy, right? Then player engagement manager and strength and conditioning coach for the NFL Carolina Panthers. So boom, NFL. Currently, and this is the part I want his job, the executive director of player development for the University of Nebraska, right? Out in Lincoln, Nebraska, and author of this book. And for those that are on YouTube can see this book here, you got to get it. It's a must read. You have to read it. Every athlete, coach should read this. It's called The Inside Game. Welcome to the show, Gus Big Dawg Felder.
Hey, I appreciate you, Justin. Hey, man, look, I have nothing to say after that, man. You made me feel special, you know.
You are special. I
Oh,
mean,
God, one thing I do want to say that you left out, not on purpose, but I think it's one of the positions that I
did
love
I
them.
miss one?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's one of I think it's one of the places where I grew the most, and it helped me tie into what God had me doing in my life. And that was when I was at Clark Atlanta University. All right.
How did I miss that one?
That's okay. Look, that's the best one for me. That's the best job. That's the best position I ever served and ever had at Clark Atlanta University. I came in as offensive run game coordinator, offensive
Okay.
line coach, and I was also the director of strength and conditioning for all of the university. The first time they had a strength coach for each area, but I oversaw the whole program at Clark.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well, I got a slew of questions to ask you. So
yeah,
before I do that, just for those who might not know who you are, just give a 2 minute overview of who you are.
I'm Gus. That's it. I'm Gus.
You're Gus.
Big Dog. I'm married for 25 years to my wife Kelly. We met in Job Corps when we were 16, and she's a white Italian girl. I'm a big black guy. Here's funny that we're both from Philadelphia, but when I met her, I didn't believe her that she was from Philly because I never seen people like her in my area where I grew up in. So
Okay.
about like God has his hand in your life. I went to Job Corps to meet Kelly, and of course, because when I left Job Corps, I went back to high school. So I played a living there, under George Curry at Burr, Pennsylvania. But I'm just a father, a husband, a friend, a mentor. I just want to do everything I can to enhance other people's lives, man, and that's what I live my life doing. And that's me. That's Gus.
Cool. That's Gus. That's Gus, the big dog. The big dog.
Yeah,
And so I'm gonna kind of bounce around a little bit, okay?
let's
And
do
there's
it.
so many things to talk about. I want to start, in your book, you talk about coming out of high school. You talk about that you got the shot at Penn State, but that wasn't easy.
Hmm.
They slapped that. I forget what you called it. You weren't ready yet. You had to do something first to get there.
Top 48 non-qualifier.
Non-qualifier.
I was
That's it. The
supposed to
non-qualifier.
I was supposed to go to JUCO coming out of high school, not because I was a dummy. I wasn't educated. Just that my first 2 years of high school, my GPA was probably didn't exist. I didn't have one because I didn't go to class very much. Just making
Right.
this that shaped me today, but weren't good during that time. But then when I went back to high school in Berwick, Pennsylvania, I graduated about a B average. Got a lot of great leaders in that school and mentors and teachers that poured into me. And so when the NCAA clearinghouse put all this things together, I was a non-qualifier. I was supposed to go to
Right.
Prop 48 and I was going to go to Lackawanna Junior College. But that summer, Penn State had a summer program that got me in academically. So that means when I went into that program, now come out of high school after leaving Berwick, this is not a brag. This is just me sharing my story. I want to make sure to get
Sure.
across. I was the top recruit coming out of high school. I was considered one of the first five-star recruits coming out when they started putting stars on people.
Yeah.
I was a parade All-American, Gatorade All-American, the Army, all those things you could think of. So I got invited to all those games. I didn't play any of them because I had to get myself academically eligible so I can be able to play that following
Yep.
year. And there was some work done,
What was that pressure like, knowing you had to get those grades going just so you can get in there?
and I tell people this, and it's kind of it's hard to explain when you hear all that. So I started my career like at Penn State, have to do that, and then towards the end to get my fifth year eligibility, to do the same thing, something similar.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just something I had to get done. You were determined to get something done, you're going to do it. And at that time when I was younger, it was more so like, you know what, I'm gonna show him what a lot of, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And for me, that was my drive at that point. Like, you know what,
Yeah.
I know what I can do, and I know what I was facing. What I was facing.
Yep.
Once I got into the classroom, and I learned that I felt like anybody can go to college, because when you walk into a classroom at a college setting, the professors are going to prepare you for what they want you to learn.
Yeah.
You could walk in not knowing anything. That professor, if they're a good professor, they're going to get you the stuff you need to have if you have the
Yeah.
desire to learn it, in order to learn in the class and to pass the class. So each class was set up that way. I had some great professors, and a lot of them were involved in sports from Russia, from all over the place. And the time I put the time in, they gave me more of their time. So
Yeah.
it wasn't so much pressure. We lived our life like one day at a time. Like at that time, when I first got into Penn State, I was on the verge of getting married. We already had our first daughter, Destiny, who's getting married this Friday. She's 27 now. And I had custody of my younger brother and my cousin. And we were just living life, man. We were just one day at a time, just facing our struggles, and just knowing we had God in our corner. We were just grinding. It's just one day at a
Yeah.
time, getting it done.
So what was the recruiting process like for you? I mean, today's world, you deal with it now. You see
I'm
it's
doing it now.
completely different. Going back that's not forever ago, but long enough where it was different. Like, what was it like for you?
So here was back then the recruiting process. So first of all, I played under for one of the greatest high school coaches in the world, George Curry. He passed away in 2016. When he passed away, he was the all-time winningest coach in Pennsylvania. He was probably third overall in the country for wins. He's a former Temple graduate. He's a short, strong, stouty, burly white guy. Who just grew up in the game of football, and he was the greatest mentor, the greatest motivator I've ever been around. A lot of stuff that I do today comes from being involved in that program for 2 years. But the class I graduated with, they lost only two games since seventh grade. So, and we
Wow.
beat everybody. We were the best thing. And you can look it up on USA Today. You'll see George Curry Burke Bulldogs. And I was blessed to go to that program. So the recruiting process for me was like this. Like, all right, I knew my mom had a wall, like, and she was in Philly, I was in Berwick. She had every offer hung on her walls all around the house. I'll find that photo and I'll shoot you a copy of that photo.
Yeah.
All my offers. I got offered by everybody in the country. I was, but when this is what happened, my recruiting process was simple. I never took an official visit. My only time visiting Penn State, I visited Penn State twice. I went once where George Curry and I drove in his van. We went out to Penn State after the spring practice. I sat in the locker room with Joe Paterno with his glasses on and looking at me. My coach said, "All right, George Curry said, when you go in there, Gus, you're going to tell him you commit." I'm doing what he asked me to do, because
Yeah.
that's what I look up to. I went in, I sat in front of Joe after practice. I said, "Coach, I commit to you guys." All right. We in the car going back. This is, I like to laugh, and you show how far you involved and how far you grew. We in the car driving back, it's silent. I said, "Coach, what is commit?" 'Cause I had no idea what I just, so he said that means you're giving them your word that you're going to be coming to that university, and your word
Yeah.
is all you got. Can't nobody take it away from God. So even though I committed back then, I still was getting calls from Ohio State, Miami, all the schools
Yeah.
called me. But My recruiting process was that simple. I did what my coach asked me to do. He said, "Gus, you're going to go to Penn State, and you're going to be the best. That's going to be the best thing that happened to you in your life." And he was not even close to being wrong. He's absolutely right. Penn State is. I am sitting here talking to you because of God's grace and the lessons I learned under Joe Paterno in Penn State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm doing, taking a guy like myself. He had this thing called the Grand Experiment. And if you're familiar with Penn State football, you know what that means. We had the highest graduation rate between for minority student athletes and minority football players in the country for a long, long time. And we didn't just have some cupcake majors. We sought after. He pushed us and challenged us to do things we want to do in life.
I mean, you majored in kinesiology.
That's it. And here's the thing, though: if you
That's what people major in to become doctors.
doctors, 100%. See what I'm saying? So, and when you're doing this major now, if you can be a star quarterback and a senior. If you're not doing right academically, you won't play.
Right.
So that pressure came from up top. That discipline came up top. So
Right.
yeah, we had majors. We graduated black kids. We graduated student athletes. We went off to stellar careers, and it was called the Grand Experiment. I'm proud to say I was a part of that. And Joe Pye gave me the opportunity to get that done. And he held us accountable. We had study hall. We had homework assignments. Like my senior year, you know, back then, you were allowed 5 years of eligibility, 5 years to be in a college. Right? So I had to in order to get my fifth year, I had to graduate in four. I
Now,
was,
is that a Penn State rule?
that was an NCAA rule.
Okay.
And what happened is going into my to graduate that summer, I was 27 credits behind. So that summer,
That's in your book.
that summer, and you can talk to Todd Coker, who's the academic advisor there right now. Everybody that comes through that program, I believe he told them this story. We sat down, put a plan together with the blessing of Joe Paterno and John Thomas. I took 27 credits that summer and got my fifth year eligibility. If I didn't complete that, I was going to have to go into what the NFL had, what's called a supplemental draft. That's after the draft, and a team can, if
Right.
they want to require to pick you up, and you're late, you're coming in camp late, you miss all the OTs and everything else like that.
Yep.
But we graduated. I graduated. My first person in my family to graduate high school and college. My mom got to come see my graduation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a big deal. And then during, hey, how'd you get that done? I just went to work, man. I got a lot of parking tickets. I got a,
Yeah.
you know, for just trying to make sure I get to class on time. I had my daughter in class with me some days. My daughter was getting married on Friday. Once again, she's getting married. She had her and I had two girls by that time in class with me in the back while I'm getting work done. She's sitting there eating her chips and stuff, and Jasmine's in her little stroller, and I'm in class getting my work done. My wife's at work at Walmart. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. So when I was
No.
saying vague in the book about some of the stories, there's more details that go into these things that I'm talking about, and you'll get a chance to see them later when my next book come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was like. It was just the grind and that the Penn State prepared us for life,
Yeah.
and that was just what Joe Pa stood for.
Well, you said what you just said doesn't happen anymore. What I mean by that is you said you sat in front of Joe Paterno, who is, one of the greatest coaches ever, right? And you said, I commit to you. You didn't know what the hell you were saying at
Right.
that time. But once you learned what it meant, you stuck to it.
Up to your
Where
words.
these kids today, they commit to 5 different schools and then they end up going to the sixth one.
Just for a recruiting trip, just for the family. It's more so the parents than anything else.
Yeah.
My parents were completely out of my recruiting process. They supported me. My mom told me, "You're not coming back home." She did say that. I'll tell you that. And that was another motivation factor. Because what's in Philly. At that time, before I became that top recruit, I told Curry, I said, "Look, Joe, I just want to go back to Philly and play ball at Temple. I don't care if I go to King's College. I don't care if I go to Temple. I just want to be close to Kelly and Destiny." That was my goal back then. And God gave me more. And, a lot of stuff I asked for in life, God always going to give you more than what you ask for.
Right.
And it's always better than ours. And that's what it was. I got a chance to go to Penn State and have a great time, meet some great friendships, make some great brotherhoods, some great experiences. And then
Yeah.
even it's not me to come back to be a coach. Joe, the things he would say, like, you have everything runs through Joe, and his words to me, called me like, "Gus, I would love to have you back in this program. Any way you want to do it, go talk to this person, go talk to that person," and it was just like that.
That is so cool. So what was it like 18 years old walking on campus? I mean, you got some of the like you're a huge guy in it yourself. but you probably weren't that big as at 18 as you were as a senior. Maybe you were, I don't know. But
Well,
what was it like walking in there and with these monsters around you and walking into this Penn State aura?
for me, it was like it was just like it was. I wanted. I was. It gave me more confidence, know, like I'm ready to go. Like it was like I wasn't like I was first of all, I was older than a lot of freshmen because I remember I dropped out of high school for a little bit of
Yeah.
time and went back. And a lot of guys, remember, LeVar and I going on recruiting trips together. LeVar, watch those guys, the bodies change, which blew my mind. And I didn't know the details, what went into the details of the work they put in. I just seen their bodies changing every time I got a chance to see them, like LeVar Arrington and Tony Stewart. I played against these guys, played against Tony. I remember seeing LeVar, a little skinny safety running back, on the sidelines, different recruiting trips. And I go back that summer to be an athlete, and I'm like, man, what?
What do they feed them?
Look at his neck. I remember first time I seen Courtney Brown, I thought he was like a professional wrestler, but here he is, a football player. I'm like, man, some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. The brotherhood, it wasn't hard to make that adjustment at Penn State because of the brotherhood and the team, no, the player-led team stuff that they had. We had guys like David Macklin, Brandon Short, Anthony King. These guys were just like they were there for you.
Yeah.
Therefore, they didn't hold anything back from giving you what you need to have this to succeed. Or I was a big guy. I had to keep my weight around 320, and guys like, man, just drink water. They'll come to your house. Hey, just drink this, eat this, do this, and let's go out here and let's go up to the and play some basketball. Like it was a real team environment. It welcomed me, and they didn't have any pressures on myself. I just felt more confident, ready to go out there and play and prove that I can get it done here.
Yeah.
And it was funny because that next spring, I know I'm jumping around. That next spring from that summer. Sitting out was hard. Trust me, that was tough. I was in the weight room by myself in the morning because I couldn't be a non-qualifier. You couldn't be with the team. You couldn't be
Right.
around the team. You couldn't eat
You
with.
couldn't, could you go in the locker room?
I can go, but I'm not. You're not supposed to be in a locker room. I couldn't do
Right.
any team functions. I had a locker in there, but I couldn't go. I couldn't be at the team meetings. I couldn't be at workouts with them. I did everything by myself. I was in the weight room in the morning at 5 a.m., 5:30, ready to work with JT and his guys. And I felt like those guys were experimenting on me. I felt they were they were
Yeah.
trying new movements out on me and crushing me, and I'm just thriving through it and earning the respect of the players around me. So by the time I got to play, when it's time for me to go out there and actually be a part of the team, they knew who I was and knew what I was about. They knew I was
Right.
at work. And I remember one time Brandon Short had to sit over me and watch me get 8 miles on a bike because I did it once, and then one of the young strength coaches didn't believe I did it, and I'm hot. So JT, the head strength coach, said, "All right, Brandon, y'all, you watch him do it." So Brandon Short watched me do it. I did it back to back 2 times, the 8 miles, the 20-minute touch on the bike, and be short like JT, he did it. And JT trusted Bree Short. And I did it. Next thing I did it, they made a new one, a 12 mile, a 12-minute test on the bike. Go to knock that out. So I think that my effort and work ethic the guy gave me to get done first drew the guys closer to me. They knew I was going to come in and work. I wasn't ready to play around.
Yeah.
They knew I was older. They knew I had a family. I had some guys from Philly that heard about my brothers and I from Philly. So that kind of helped out a little bit, know who we
Yep.
were, you know.
Yeah.
So the boys and that made us a bond. They knew I was in there to come get some stuff done and work. And I had a chance to go out that spring. That first spring, it was a quick rule came in and let me go out and practice. I practiced for about a day, and I was out there working. I did offense and defense, and later that day I said I couldn't go back on the field no more. The rule didn't pass, didn't go through. That
Oh my God.
that crushed me. But what it did was I felt like it gave the coaches and everybody else a glimpse to see what I could do,
Yeah. What's coming?
what's coming. And then when I got out there, I was out there, big dog. I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine. I've not been to a Penn State home game, yet, and I'm hoping to get to one this year. But what was it like for you that first time you went out there, home field, white out, going crazy, and you're starting
Arizona.
player?
Never forget it. Arizona. We had a really good team in '99, man. We were ranked number one. No, we were rolling. We weren't ranked one yet, but we were just rolling everybody. But the Arizona game was special. And before that, I'm saying like God put stuff in your life. Whatever we're going through right now, I think my life shows that whatever we're going through right now is preparing us for what He has for us next.
Yep.
By me going to Burr, Pennsylvania, and playing in front of thousands of people already, playing on ESPN already, playing on TV every week, and playing for George Curry, I think that program, just being in the limelight, helped me prepare for what I'm going to be doing at Penn State. Because for me, I was excited about being out there. I was excited about having my daughter out there. My wife she was my girlfriend at the time at the game, so that was more important for me then. But just looking back on it now, I think everything I did at Berwick, as far as playing on that large of a platform at a high school, like a lot of people don't get before I went to Berwick, I was in Philadelphia wondering like no, this is no, this is like where does white football players come from? Because there was none in my league in North
Yeah,
Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So then I got a
yeah,
chance to play with them and see around and see the best of the best and see how strong Jeremiah Dyer is, Manny Henry, a 500-pound bencher in college at Bird, Pennsylvania. It's real deal. The video's out there. And here I am on this team with these guys, training with these dudes and getting ready to go. And so when I got to Penn State, I was already on that level. A lot of guys don't get a
yeah,
chance to train that way, get a chance to, to see that type of stuff. But I was able to, and God gave me that before Penn State at Berwick. So going into Penn State was just all right. Let's go. It was something I was already used to. Not but there's a lot. There's a lot of people at Penn State games now.
yeah,
So and it gets loud. The blessing for me is that I played offense, so I didn't really get the loud stadium feel until I'm on
yeah,
the sideline watching defense out there playing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
but
Because they're quiet for you guys when you're out there,
I
right? So I don't know how you can give this answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
let's do it.
Is Do you have a most memorable moment? Can you pick one for your entire time at Penn State?
Yes, I have two. I have two. I'm going to go back to probably three. I can keep going for now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm going to give you two. Uh, Junior year, Adam Talaferro gets a run out the stadium. We're
Yeah.
opening against Miami. We got our butts kicked that game, but
I'm talking to him about coming on here too.
I'll get him get on the AT. He's a great dude. I mean, you talk here this
What a story he has, huh?
one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking to these guys now about how fast this game can be taken away from you.
In seconds.
And this guy, I mean, he came in as a freshman. Listen to me, Jeff. This kid was dunking from the goal line, 360 dunks, and just black back flips and fast, strong already. He played as a freshman
Yeah.
because of the skills and talent that God gave him. Quiet, most humble, funniest kid. He's a funny guy too. So
Yeah.
he's on these things, his suit on, the young professional now. He is clown. He is hilarious. All right. So, but even during his whole ordeal, he's making jokes about him. We're sitting there like, bro, this is not funny, but that's just his personality. But him run out the tunnel, that I'm getting goosebumps right now was something
Yeah.
I talk about all the time. And the next one is when we rushed for 2,000 yards, man. We were playing Michigan, and no one even thought about 2,000 yards. I'll see. No one thought about that. But then every game he just kept stacking numbers, and LJ really was superstitious at that time. He wanted to wear these every time he rushed for every time he wore these blue stocks, these blue thick stockings that we had to wear. I hate them because they were so hot. 200 plus yards. So we're running them things every game. At the half, LJ broke the record before the half. Ended up rushing for like close to 300 yards in the first half against Michigan State. And it was that's a special moment because it was
That's cool. That's
LJ.
something as I don't think that the for lack of better words, the traditional fan
Yeah,
understands what it means to the offensive line to have a running back that gets a lot of yards.
man. Let me tell you another other good part about that being a lineman. Every Monday we went to this place called Champ Sports Bar in State College, and then LJ had to buy us food. So look, don't know where he got the money from. I don't know if his dad was giving him his credit card or not, but we were eating. We were eating good too.
That's good. That's good. So out of all your years there, who was the toughest team you played against?
The toughest team I played, I'm gonna say this team because we didn't beat them. We lost to Toledo. I think it was my sophomore year. There's only one coach in our staff, Dick Anderson. He was an offensive line coach, and he kept saying, and he never gets really loud, never
He
yells.
became the head coach at Rutgers, right?
Rutgers, he left and went to head coach at Rutgers for a year, beat Penn State, went back to Penn State. He's a Penn State graduate too.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a guy on our team, Greg Ransoms out of Jersey, was goofing around, and Dick Anderson went off on everybody. Like, you guys know this team's gonna come in here and drop 30 on y'all and beat y'all. He never cussed. They're gonna beat y'all ass. And they came in and did that. they were the toughest team because they worked and they were relentless during that game, and we just kept giving them motivation. Were they more talented than us? No, but their
No.
the win, the desire to win was higher than us that day.
Yeah.
Amen. And I ended up working with the defensive line, Coach Kozlowski at Miami. And he brought it up. Like, he said, "You were not." I said, He said, "No, you were the left tackle." I said, "Yes, I was the left tackle." He was the D line coach. You know,
So what was that Monday like after that loss?
it was a rough year that year, but we had no leadership. All the leadership I talked about we had in the beginning, like the Brandon Shorts had left. Those leaders were gone, and then we had a lot of I guys on the team.
Yeah.
It showed. It showed in our
Who was
record.
your quarterback then?
Rashad Casey was our quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, we always play with multiple quarterbacks. My whole entire career at Penn State, we play with multiple quarterbacks. We never had one guy.
Right.
I had Rashad Casey. I had um, Zach Mills. I had Michael Robinson. I had Matt Seneca. I'm forgetting somebody. Kevin Thompson. So we always had multiple quarterbacks. I never
Yeah.
had one quarterback.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you this crazy question. Advice. I want you to think about take your coaching, your current world hat off, put it on the side for a second, and just think of it as a player, right?
Okay.
What advice can you give to the incoming guys, not the transfer guys, forget them, the incoming high school kids that are getting the shot to come into Penn State or any gigantic Power Five school? What advice can you give them as just a player? And then put your hat back on for what you know now. What advice can you give them also? Two different worlds as a player and then as a coach.
I'm gonna tie them together.
Okay.
Everything you did in high school is gone. That stuff's over with.
Yeah.
You got to restart it. All right, you got to show us what you can do. All right, so right now that's put in today's perspective, today's world of college football. If you're coming to a school and you're getting money, just like a rookie's coming to money, getting money in the National Football League, you're getting paid for what you did in the past. Now you got to come earn what you're gonna get now. Just like
Mm,
your best contract in the National Football League is what? Your second contract, because now you're getting paid for what you did in the league. So all you guys think this little money you're getting now is big. It's probably something you've never seen before. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is nothing. So put all your accolades behind. I never walked around Penn State talking about what I did at Berwick because no one cared. No one cares. It's what can you do for us now? What are you going to do? How are you going to work right now? What are you
right.
bringing to make this team better right now? So I'm going to put in the one, take my hat off as a player. If I'm talking to my freshman, I'm talking to, no, Jay Alfred, those guys, or Tom Ali. Like Tom had number 70. I said, bro, you got to take that number off my number. You ain't wearing no 72. You got to earn these something like this. Tom went off and made his number 91, a very special number. He just got retired from the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame, so I'm saying so. But me having that conversation was like, no, you're not wearing that number. And it was respected because Tom and those guys will tell you right now, we learned how to be better players and took what we taught them, and they went off and won the Big Ten championship, which something we couldn't complete. So as we passed the torch, and we did it by making everybody earn. You had to earn what you want to get here. Who cares what you did in high school? Everybody's great in high school once you get to college.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody, I'm sure everybody, even the lowest level of guy on Penn State football was probably an All-American high school
And
player.
the school, yep, that's what we
Yeah.
say. That's
You know
it.
what I
That's
mean?
what's going on now. What are you going to do? What can you do right now?
Yeah.
And a lot of
Yeah.
guys get lost in it. A lot of guys get stuck on what they did. I came from one of the top high school programs in the country. We won. No one won more state titles than us. No one
Yeah.
won more games than us. No one, so we went to Steakhouse and eat after a big win at Berwick. So I've seen all that already. Now that's
Yeah.
gone. Those days are gone. What are you doing right
Yeah.
now?
You know, it's funny. I don't mean funny that I'm laughing, but it's funny
Oh,
that you said that because I've talked to a couple of Penn State guys and I've asked the same question and they all have said the same thing. Forget your past. It means nothing.
not at all. And
You know?
Joe happily explained that to us every time he got in front of us and talked.
Yeah,
Work.
that's great. So
Don't
let me
stop.
ask you this.
Do it. Yeah.
You were a 4-year letterman.
Yeah.
Just getting one is hard, let alone doing it 4 times. And
Work
you're all Big Ten.
twice.
What did that mean to you?
At the time, nothing. But when I look back on it now, sharing stuff with my son, it means a lot. Like I was with the Matt Schmitz. I guess you're always so nonchalant. I want nonchalant, but that's just all right. Let's do something different. Let's rush for 2,000 yards. Let's go and play the big. When you're in that mix, and you have guys like I was on a team that were ranked number one and they're undefeated and had someone that had the first and second pick overall in the draft on a team. I seen those guys. I seen how Brandon Short came to work every day for the program and he's there right now as on a board of trustees. Like once you're a Penn State, you're always a Penn State. There's something in that program that ties us all together, and it comes from the same leader we had over the years, and it's just the tradition and being Joe Cole always told us, success with honor. We were honored to do what we were doing and doing it the right way,
Mm,
out finding shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Shortcuts bring shortcomings, and he made sure we knew that. He talked about it. He talked about all the great leaders and used their stories and motivate us and talk to us, man. So it's the tradition behind it. So it's big. And here it is now. And it's funny. Everybody's going to watch this video. I hope everybody gets to see it.
yep.
And I stand on this. It's hard for me. I love Tony. I love Coach Johnson. It's hard for me to watch those guys wear that color, the Ohio State colors, because I'm a Penn Stater.
Yeah.
It's just when I got offered a job at Ohio State twice.
Well, they probably have a hard time seeing you wear Nebraska red.
They do. It's okay. It's okay. It is. It is. But that was a rival. That's real.
Yeah.
Today's game. I can play against my opponent. They kick my butt. I'm gonna post a picture of him after the game. I'm like, no, bro, we're not doing that. I
Yeah,
love.
they're sharing jerseys, signing
Yeah,
jerseys and stuff.
no, we're not doing that. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not doing that. So, Penn
Well,
State all the way, man.
well, Gus, you've put Joe Paterno's name in this conversation probably 10 times already.
Yeah.
What did you learn from him, and being in the culture of that environment and Penn State football that you've carried through to today?
Um, that's easy. I'm going to tell you right now. It's just discipline. Discipline. I'm gonna say discipline. Time management. I was on this call right here trying to get my laptop set up in this house that I'm in right now because I was doing it since 5:30. I just couldn't get it connected. I got my son running around getting everything connected, resetting the Wi-Fi in here, and I was going to jump this call before you, and you beat me to it. I was a little mad at myself for that. But yeah, man, discipline
I'm
and
going to
time
make you
management.
run.
Yeah, oh yeah, you don't want to, yeah, discipline and time management, and that's huge, huge.
It's what football does.
Hmm.
It's being you're held accountable to everybody else, not just yourself,
Yep,
you know?
that's what it's
And
about.
and what I try to, and let me ask you this question is can you describe in can you write it down? Can you put it in words? What does it feel like? Just feel like to be out on the football field playing that game with your teammates, especially when you're winning. Can you put that into words?
Right, not right on the spot. I can write it out. I can tell you this right. I can give you another quick story. Spice Anthony Adams. I'm not sure if you're familiar who he is. He's a big time comedian now. He's played 9 years in the league. Over 2 million followers on social media just from being a great funny man, working with some of the greatest comics in the world. We talk to this day. What about our sons? We talk about we wish that Penn State could have just been our career. We can just stay there forever.
Yeah.
What it feels like. I don't know what words to use for that. I don't know. I can't describe. If I'm writing something now, I can think of some crafty words to put together. But that, if anyone listening to this or watching this, if I say that now we're 46 years old, I had an awesome career in athletics coaching. I've been able to play and coach at every level. Spice had a 9 year NFL career, drafted in the second round. Now he's on all types of TV shows and movies. And when we get together and we talk to this day, we talk about us. We wish we could still be at Penn State right now. That was our career. We can just be there forever.
Right.
My book dropped on the third that night. Spice brought a box of 30 books. That's the support we have for each other. That's the
Yeah.
brother we have. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, I get it. And I can feel the emotion coming out of you, right? Because the traditional student who's up in the stands watching you guys bash heads together, they just see the game, the glitz, the glamour, the cool. They don't see the pain, the suffering that goes on behind. I call it joint suffering,
mm,
right? And when you're out on the field, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, I didn't play at your level, but I still played.
Mhm.
And I can feel your emotion. I can feel it. But the traditional person, they're like, what are you talking about? You know, and so that's what I'm like, I can't even explain. If I go back to try to explain how it was when I was playing, I can't put it into words. It's just euphoric. That's
Yeah,
it.
euphoric. There you go. So you talked about how loud the stadium is, but when you're down in there, like, and this is not just, people see it on movies and they can watch a movie like any given Sunday. They can watch the game, they can watch all these football movies and they show when the player's in the game from the actor's perspective or from the camera angle,
Yeah.
everything around you slows down.
Yeah.
It's really like that.
Yeah.
And you look at a football field, people watch a game, it's the most unique and best sport in the world because on every given play, you have 22 different actions or events taking place
Yeah.
every single play that's different from the last time.
Yeah.
You can call the same play 10 times in a row. You're going to have 22 different, I mean, when I say 22 different players
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something different every single time.
Yeah. And you know what's cool what you just said? Like you said 22 different players. I knew what you meant the first time, but the people listening were like, what's he talking about? 22 different things. Like I know exactly what you're talking about. You know? So that's what I mean. Like that whole explanation, it's so hard to explain it,
Yeah,
but we can feel it.
feel it 100%.
You know what I mean? So which
Telling
is
guys
so
in the
cool.
game, when I was a strength coach, when I got out of strength coach, and one of the reasons I got out of, I know we're jumping around some, but
That's good.
it turned into in 2018 and 19, it turned into a phase where the strength coaches or support staff were looked upon as cheerleaders. And like I said, I'm not that. I get fired up for it. If I see one of my linemen up there have a crushing block, oh, you're going to get me, Gus Felder, celebrating as if I was doing a block. You're going to get that, but I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not no cheerleader. I'm not a rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
Real raw emotion from a guy who's played the game when I'm excited
Yeah.
about it. You watch any game of me on the sideline at Nebraska, at Miami or Georgia, like you're getting real emotion from a guy who's been there and know
Yeah.
what the player's going through and know what he feels like. Or if he doesn't feel it, I'm going to get it out of him because you
Yeah.
should feel this way that I'm feeling watching you do what you just did.
Yeah.
Watching a guy get his hat in the right placement on the block and stuff so small, just getting the position for the man. It's a different feeling you get when So
Yeah.
you watch me on the sideline, you'll see me get excited for stuff like that that's taking place.
You're watching the details. I know. You're watching the details.
You'll see me go off and go crazy for stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not a cheerleader, so I'm
That's
not.
so cool. That's so cool. So Cleveland, you spent some time there. Talk about that experience. How did that help you, shape you? What'd you take from it?
What I took from it is I talked earlier about, but just not through injury, the game can end at any point. And the National Football League, and this is funny. This is something I never understood why people. I'm not saying don't do it, viewers. I'm not saying don't have a dream or a goal, but too many of us put all our eggs in that one basket, and they don't understand that it's a short-lived career.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't get a chance to do that. So I tell every free agent out there, once you sign a National Football League free agent contract, guess what? You did it. You are a part of that program forever.
You made it.
You made it because there are millions of men or that wish they can have that opportunity to get it done. So
Yeah.
for me, when I was in it, I look back, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have cameras, all that stuff. So I'm like, man, I watch those kids now. I told my rookies right now, enjoy this moment. Don't let anybody take it away from you. And you get everything you can get out of it. Go to every meeting you can go to. Get everything you can get out of it because we're going to go fast. 9 years in the NFL goes fast. When you finish a 10-year NFL career, all right, you're still 30, 32 years old.
32, 33.
You're
Yeah, you're a
still
kid.
young.
Yeah.
You still have a whole life to live. This is the only thing you get out of that experience. First, you get a lot of brother, you get a lot of networking, you get a lot of money. You get a kickstart, a little bump, and then the rest of the world financially.
Yeah.
What happens to your life after that? So while you're in it, figure out what you're going to be doing with your life because football is your B plan, yet life is your A plan, is plan A. So now what I did was my offensive line coach, Larry Zerline, would call me Gus, the man with many degrees, because many times he'll walk into the room. I remember when I was a rookie in the NFL and that summer, I was sitting there studying, strength and conditioning certifications. And he said, "What are you doing it for?" I said, I'm just studying. And they're like, "You need to study this film." I'm like, "I got you, big dog." But you know what I'm saying? Like I knew what I wanted to get done when this thing was
Yeah.
over. and I got into that. But at the same time, Larry Zerline said, Gus, you're the man with many degrees. And I answered questions quick, and, I just felt prepared. My first got in the rookie. The biggest thing that I noticed right when I got in the league is how the coaches talk. Penn State, the coaches didn't cuss at you. The coach, they didn't, they didn't talk to you like that. The NFL, boy, it's a whole nother
Yeah.
ball game. You're not ready for that.
But maybe, you know what? Maybe they didn't curse at you at Penn State because that was Paterno's rule.
Yeah, but
There's other staffs the coaches got to be ripping
oh,
them.
oh yeah, I'm in it all the time, no doubt about it. Mark Rick, not a cusser, but you knew what he meant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Matt Rule don't have to raise his voice at all, but they
Yeah.
know what he wants. But Matt Rule's another Penn State, a super smart guy, man. I'm telling you, one of the smartest people I've been around in my life.
Yep.
He's a visionary. He's a people builder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've been surrounded by some great people, some great folks.
Oh, yeah.
Before I actually met him, I know we jumping up before I met Matt. LeVar hit me up and said, "Gus, man, you knew I was going to carry." He said, Matt's the man. He's one of the smartest people ever. Man, I passed all my tests because of Matt. Like, talk about how smart Matt was and everything.
Yep.
But the experience in the National Football League was fun. I was talking to my son, like, I wish I had. I have my helmet. I have some small photos here and there, but I don't think I actually. I give this advice to other rookies. I mean, I didn't take advantage of being visible and being present.
Mm.
Everything. I put my focus on, I'm gonna go in there, do my job, go to my meetings, and I didn't talk to a lot of people. I didn't hang out with people. I didn't, what I'm saying? Like, I don't go out now, man. I'm an introvert now, but my job and my requirements, put me in a position to go out and talk to everyone. But when I was in,
You're an introvert? There's no way you're an introvert.
look, I promise you, look, you can talk to my staff here. I don't go to bars. I don't.
That doesn't make you an introvert.
I
Introvert
don't
means
go
you're
out.
uncomfortable talking to people.
I don't go. Yeah, that's what exactly. But I can talk to my guys and this stuff. I can do this all day long. I
Yeah.
would never walk up to you and say, "Hey, Jeff, I'm Gus Felder." I would
Right.
never do that. Even right now, with everything I've accomplished in life, I wouldn't walk up to you and be, "Hey, how you doing, bud? I'm Gus."
Right. Yeah.
Not happening.
You're not a self-promoter, is really what you're saying.
Yeah.
You,
Well,
your
yeah,
your actions promote
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
That
So,
that's that's
so I
awesome.
tell the guys just basically that question to getting it. It was a blessing. I don't question anything how it happened being there, just from April until November. So, being released twice. I don't question it because I look at it like God had his hands on this. And I'm not just saying it
Yeah.
because you read the book, you see how I speak, I'm very spiritual.
Yeah.
I'm still transitioning. I trust him, but I would not change anything that happened in my life because I think it's all laid out purposely and perfectly through God.
Right. Can you said you got released twice. Can you talk about what that was like when you knew it was over?
Um, it's weird for me because I knew I had a plan. I knew what I was going to do. I was more worried about what everybody else was wanted out of it, family
Yeah.
members and so forth. That right there kind of bothered me the most. My dad, he passed away in 2020. And my dad, he was in our life. My mom, and they separated when we were young. They never got divorced. My dad was into drugs. He played bass guitar. Man, my dad was so talented. He played bass guitar for the Apollo, for the Uptown in Philly. He was a traveling musician. So he's into that 70s drug scene, all that stuff.
Yep.
So, and he always worked, he kept his job. So, but my dad never watched me play football, not that I know of. I know he never seen me in person play. I know that for a fact. My dad's
Wow.
6'5" guy, big old guy. All he's everybody's handyman, fix everything. He never watched me play ball, but my dad was always there at Penn State on Saturdays to cook for the guys when they came over the house after the game. All right, so my dad was at every family barbecue cooking on the grill for everybody. But he never came in the game. My dad stayed at home. He's an introvert. We didn't go out much. We don't go out much like my
Hmm.
brother.
Hmm.
But when I called him and said, "Dad, I think I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore," he said, "You got to do what's best for you." Everyone else had a different excuse why I should keep going. No one else mentioned we're doing stuff for myself. My
Yeah.
dad, and I don't call. I called. We would call back and forth, and every now and again. But when I called, and I don't know what God led me to call my dad, and that was the best conversation I ever had with him because he made it so simple. Do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Not even told him to do. I didn't say, "Hey, everybody's asking me to do this." I just said, "Hey, Dad, I think I'm done. I think I can't keep doing. They call me. I'm not gonna keep doing this." And I know I was asked to go to NFL or Europe. Right before that, I was called and talked to my dad, and he said, "You got to do what's best for you." And I think, because Mark Rick told me the same thing years later, I don't still do what's best for Gus. I do what's best for everybody else at times. But that moment in that conversation, I knew that it was okay to be done, and that's why like I get to have this conversation with guys now about, hey, what does your life look like outside of ball? I'm way more than just a ball player. I have too many skills and talents, and I try to tap into every single one of them every single day. On
Yeah.
see, look, man, I build and collect Lego. I have my own cigar line. I love electronics, tech. I love reading. I try to get into all my hobbies and techs
You're
all the
getting
time.
your doctorate.
I'll finish in my doctorate. See, that's normal. You gotta keep learning. You gotta keep educating yourself. So yeah, once I
Yeah.
get to my doctorate, it's something out there I'm gonna find I can learn. I'm gonna find it, but I don't know what it is. It's coming.
Well, maybe you become a heart surgeon. Who knows?
No, my hands, I'm not, I don't know. Hands too big for that. I
Yeah, yeah,
gotta
yeah.
use the machine maybe. But
So,
yeah,
so, so when did you decide that in your mind, hey, football's over the game, but I'm going to become a coach? When did that happen? How did you make that
when I was at
switch?
Penn State, that was before I even, like I said, I knew what I was going to do before that. So
Okay.
ESPN and the Job Corps, I went to Job Corps. So ESPN and Job Corps did a video. It was out there on YouTube. It's called the Gus Felder story. They followed my junior year. They followed me for my junior year and senior year, and they put this whole production together and put it out. You got Joe Paterno speaking on it. And he didn't do that for a lot of people. You got Joe got a feature on there, George Curry, some other coaches around that knew me. And at the end of the video, it said, "Will Gus Felder take his degree and become a high school football coach, or will he take his stuff and go off to the National Football League?" And my wife made a really big comment. She said, "Hey, she don't care what we do, what I do, as long as we're together." And see, the people that know Gus, Spice and all those guys knew, they knew that I wanted to be a high school football coach.
Okay.
Okay, and when I was taking classes at kinesiology course, I can go the route. Hey, I'm going to go to pedagogy, or I'm going to go be a doctor. Man, I was out at State College High School, substitute teaching classes for my internships. I was in Philadelphia interning, doing some work for my classwork, teaching and coaching. I knew I wanted to get that done because of the impact that George Curry had on me, my high school coach at Berwick. I wanted to be, in my mind back then, and sometimes today, I want to go find a small high school in Pennsylvania, bless some kids, build some people up, and break George Curry's records. Man, every place I've been to, and this is so funny, and the people don't understand that, like, God's plan is always different than ours. I've applied to so many high school jobs over the years, so many, more than I can count,
Right.
and I never get them. They never.
How can that be?
And look here, I don't, but I think God has his hand in it. Look, I was told by one school one time, Jeff, man, look, this is Atlanta Classical Academy in Atlanta, Georgia, offer me a job. No, no, no. They bring me in. This past spring break, went down there, walked the campus, gave them all these ideas, and they told me the board member felt like I was too confident to come help change that program.
How can that be? How
I,
can they
I
tell you
have
that?
no idea. I laughed at it. My agent laughed at it. I told Cosmo Curry. He said, "Gus, Cosmo Curry is George Curry's son. He's a superintendent of a district in Pennsylvania." And he said, "Gus, I've been doing this hiring people for a long time. I've never told someone that we're not hiring them because they're too confident." He said, "Gus, they were intimidated by your knowledge." I said, "I can't control that, coach."
That's crazy.
So what I was at Georgia, University of Georgia, in the weight room, working at the University of Georgia, and a high school job over in the car, Clark Central, right down the street. I went down there, interviewed, had a second interview cut up, and Carla Williams came in. This was God right here. Carla Williams, she was the AD. She's now the AD at Virginia. She came in, and I was telling her about what I was doing. She said, "Gus, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I think you just pull your name out." And next, Mark Rick hired me as his director of strength and conditioning after he got let go at Georgia and Miami. So a lot of these times I think it's God's fate when he asks for me. A lot
Yep.
of times, I don't know what these schools are thinking because that's my wife. Hello. See, I came in to get these it's live, so yeah, I'll let you know. I came in to get these high school jobs, man. I don't know. I don't know.
But it's crazy that these major powerhouse colleges hire you, the
All the time
NFL hires you,
hiring me.
and the
Exactly.
high schools are like, oh no,
They'll ask me a question like, "Why would you leave that to do that? Why does it matter?
because
If
that's where your heart
in my
is.
heart, they don't." That's what I'm saying. I said, "You don't know me, so it's hard for me to explain." They think it's something. I'm saying right now. So, and my new goal, is to be an administrator, AD at my school where I'm bringing in my own staff members, developing people, and
Put me on that staff, man.
oh man, listen to me, Joe. It's been I don't know want to say discouraging, but it's been eye opening because here I am with all these degrees and over 20 years of experience, working in different athletic departments at all levels, and I'm not getting the knocks or the calls. And you
You'll
know,
get it.
it,
You'll
it's
get
coming.
it.
It's coming. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, you wonder like, what are you thinking? This in small schools. I mean, you trying to tell me I can't come help build your program? Like, are you? So yeah. Oh, so I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't know why they're not hiring. It's not. I just can't control that. I'm looking for somebody to control. That's how I conduct myself in those interviews and those meetings.
Well, you said it. You said it in the very beginning. One
Totally
day at a time.
controllable. One day
One
at a
day at a time.
time.
You know. So you coached at these monster schools. You went into the NFL. Can you tell me the difference between the NFL coaching there, working there, and college level? What are the differences?
The differences at the National Football League is a business. There's a lot of moving parts. You have ownership, you have general managers, you have head coaches, all three of them trying all three are hands in a pot, stirring in different directions most times. The teams that are successful, you say like the Chiefs, some of the things like that, they have everything aligned the right way. It's just a lot of moving parts in the National Football League that take another podcast, another show to talk about. But
But these gigantic colleges we've worked for, that's a business too in
it
itself.
is, but I don't think that business aspect of it really filters into the football part of it.
Okay.
There's layers to it, and I think the people involved, like the AD, the deputy AD, and the head coach, they're in line to allow the people to work. So, and you see these colleges thrive because they allow the coaches to coach.
Yeah.
Will get in the way. A coach that comes to the college level, you take a Mark Rick, a Matt Rule, James Franklin, those guys like that. They have shown and earned the right to run their program the right way.
Right.
And at the National Football League level, it's too
Yeah.
many parts in it that allow it to take place.
Now, do you get back to Penn State much
I
anymore or
have
no?
not back to Penn State in so long. I'm waiting for them to call me too one day, but we'll see. I'd rather school the Big Ten call, but it's coming.
Do you talk to Franklin at all?
I used to talk to Franklin all the time. I used to talk to Franklin a lot when I was at Miami, when I was at Georgia. I haven't talked to him much now, being back in the Big Ten.
Right. But you think about that for him for a second, right? I mean, he started out at Kutztown.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on. Like
Yeah.
you're at these major power gigantic schools. Like he was way down there, D2. I mean, it might have been D3
I
back then.
was at Cheyney. I was at Cheyney when we were playing against them back then.
Yeah. It's like I can't believe he's not tapping you on the shoulder. Say, look, come home. Come home.
It's all in God's hand. If he do, I'm here to listen. We talked a lot though before. When I was in the NFL, when I was at Miami ACC, we talked a lot. I mean, even when I went and spoke, I was the only coach not coaching in Pennsylvania and was able to speak at the Pennsylvania coaches conference a few times. And he would come and send his staff and hear me speak and all that stuff. So that's back when I was doing strength. And
Right.
he would have his whole staff come watch me talk and listen to me speak. And we talk a lot, but we text back in the day, but I haven't talked to him in a while since being back. I think it's out of respect too. I am at Nebraska where, we are this year we play each other, I just want, and I respect and have a lot of love for our head coach here now
Yeah.
too. But at the same time, I have goals and dreams that I would like to accomplish.
Yeah.
So,
Well, look, you're helping athletes now,
yeah.
right? And when you think of values, right? Every team's got values, every coach has values. When you're working with the athletes today as a director, the guy who runs all of player development, what do you focus on with these young men today?
First thing I talk about, the third thing I do is building relationships
Yeah.
because you're not going to hear anything anyone has to say until you trust them.
Mm,
So you start the foundation. That's just building relationships. That's with everybody in the building. So my number one goal, my number one purpose with anybody coming in with the parents, anybody is to first is to build relationships. And while we want to, my job is to enhance their experience, to make their life better while they're here at the school that I'm serving and are working with. And that's what it's about. So before I can sit down from, hey man, let's talk about your finances. You don't know me. You don't want to have, you don't talk about no
yeah.
finances. You gotta get to know me first. You gotta want to be
Yeah.
around me, and that's what it's about. I get letters from parents. Hey, thank you for being a father figure to my. I'm not trying to be his father figure. I'm just trying to be somebody he can lean on and count on. I can be
Yeah.
a mentor to him. I didn't look at it as a fathership. I didn't look at it as
Yeah. A go-to. You're a
yeah,
go-to guy.
exactly. And I want to be that for those parents, and to get these letters in my DMs and my Instagram boxes from the parents is meaningful because I don't go out my way to talk to parents because I'm here for the student athlete. I'm going to teach you guys
Yeah.
to be men. So my
Yeah.
first is to teach you guys how to have dialogue, how to connect, how to have relation, how to communicate. So
Yeah.
if your mom needs information and I'm giving information to you, it's your job now to give it to her or give it
Right.
to them the right way. So that's my first overall. Before you do anything else, before I talk about the readiness program, before I talk about literacy, before I talk about manhood, all that stuff, I need to build a relationship with you first,
Yeah.
and I do that the Gus way, and that's just putting a lot of time with the guys.
So what's a day in a life like for you?
Oh man! So first, it's also you have a professional side. I got to get in the morning. I got to skim through emails. I got to set up community service events. I got to set up speaking engagements. I got to check.
Yeah.
I'm checking classes. I'm getting my schedule for my guys to go out and some of the meetings that you have are organic.
Yep.
A lot of them are planned and purposeful. I want to meet with this guy here. He mentioned last week he's having trouble at home with a girl, so we're going to have a meeting. We're going to go out to eat. We're going to go do something. We can get away from the building and talk about those things. So my day consists of email, professional side first, staff meeting with my guys, Devo in the morning. We go through the schedule, and then the rest of that, I'm out and about. Whatever the players are, I am. What I don't do, out of respect for the strength coaches now, is I don't spend time in the weight room when the guys are working out because I was a strength coach for 17 years, and a lot of the strength coaches I work with that are now actively working were either an intern for me or a player for me, or I was some type of mentee to them. So I try not to go in there and I don't want to ever be looked at going to evaluate or judge you or on your program because it's
Yeah,
your
they'll think you're looking over their shoulder
yeah.
or
So I
something.
stay out of the weight room, but I have a lot of touch, man. I'm in the sauna with the guys. I'm at lunch with them. I'm out. I'm like walking to class with them. I'll pull up to a class and sit in the class with a guy. The guys are at my house. We have a birthday party. Man, we're going bowling. We're going golfing. We're playing video games. We're building Lego. So my day consists of finding ways outside of my scheduled days where my freshman, you have a scheduled meeting time to meet with Gus. So that's
Yeah.
how that's what we're going to lay the concrete down early with those guys. So they have to sit down. We talk about whatever and everything. I have an overall program, but it's geared and modified for each individual player.
Yeah.
So I do have look, this is Don, my old line coach texting me right now, texting me every day. All right,
So,
so
so what do you enjoy the most
being
about
around the
your
people,
job?
being around the people, being around the players,
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
So
And
an introverted guy enjoys
yeah,
being around people.
100%. Yep. Also,
You're
when I
not
leave that building,
introverted.
I don't come out.
You're
When I
like Superman. You
when I
turn
leave,
into
when I go
Superman.
home, they know when I go home, I'm not coming back out unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
Now it's been times where I leave to go home and a car load of guys pull up at my house, or I leave to go home. I go on my back deck. The guys out there before I get there. So,
Yeah.
but I want that. I want to know they
Yeah.
can come in and do that. So yeah, man. So that's what we do.
So it's almost like when you go to work, you put the cape on, you become like Superman.
Mm.
You go from
Oh yeah,
Clark Kent,
yeah. I think the same Clark Kent. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
right? You come
Yeah.
Clark Kent, the introverted guy, to
Yeah.
to Superman.
Around the players, 100%.
Yeah,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I
That is so cool.
great knowledge. That's a great way to say it. Yep. Look at
So so your book, I read this thing in a day and a half.
that.
And I don't mean because it's a short, simple read type of I couldn't put it down,
Appreciate that.
right? And you took your faith, you built your faith into it, your experiences, and so far everything you and I have talked about, people are saying, "Boy, Gus must have had it pretty good." You had a tough
Yeah.
upbringing into where you're at today. You've jumped over hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, and you had no fear of putting in this book.
No.
So your humbleness is incredible. You're willing to share is outstanding. And your story is, I mean, I don't know where to start and where to stop, because there's so many cool spots. But and I love how you pieced it together. But at the back of the book, we talked about it earlier in chapter 13, if anybody wants to know. We talked about the readiness program.
Mhm.
That is something that I don't think any other school I don't know has.
Stand
Or
on it. Go.
if
Let's stand on it. That's why there's only one Gus. I
yeah,
stand.
but
I know
if
I'm
if
humble, but
they
I'm also confident. The guy told me too confident, but
yeah,
yeah.
but if they do have it, it's because they stole it from you. So can you talk about that part of the book? But before that, I say, what was the motivation behind this? Where's the inspiration?
Inspiration came from Mark Rick. Mark Rick was
Okay.
one of the best leaders I've been around in my life. I've had the pleasure of working with him for several years at Georgia and Miami, and he's very observant. And when I was at Georgia, I thought I was just like another guy in the building. He had no idea who I was, didn't know anything about me. But when I had a chance to sit down and talk with him, and I knew he knew everything about me because he took the time to study it and learn it. I'm talking about he was able to, he shared my video, that video I told you about earlier about my life with so many people. I would walk around Athens and people would be like, hey, Coach Rick sent me this cool video on you. I'm like, I'm at IHOP. And there's a bunch of old ladies sitting in the room together, and they all come to my table, my wife and I, and one of them happened to be Mark Rick's mom. And she knew exactly who I was, and all those ladies knew everything about me because he took the time to share and educate people around him about me. So, and he said this to me one time, and he said, Gus, you make sure you tell your story. Grow. And at the time, I feel like I thought he meant like, hey, when I'm around your guys, you tell your story with the players, and 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 that's how I took it. He wrote this to me, and I always kept it, and I share it. His father just passed away as well. He shared this with me. He said, I always knew I could count on you. I always knew I could trust you. I always knew you would put the boys first. And I always knew God was your leader. And he sent that to me. I never get rid of it. I keep it on my
How
phone.
long ago was that?
2015.
And you still have it at your phone.
Still have it.
That is so cool.
And at this time, a lot of those stories and stuff in there, and when I was a coach in Miami, I was working on putting out a devotional book, and some of my passages from that I sent to other people to put in their books. Like Ron McKeefer has a few in his book,
Yep.
and some other coaches that put some of theirs in their book. And I'm like, you know what? I need to tell my story. And this year, just God put on my heart to start working. Not know what last year I started working on it. It's very vague. I have a lot more details and stories to talk about, but I think after reading through it and looking at it, like you said, you couldn't put it down when the grab.
This is just episode one.
So one is not it's not going to be a series. It's going to be a collection of stories from Gus Felder. And I'm always going to be driven by faith. And I love virtues, being a stoic, looking at Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and all those great minds they built within themselves through whatever they faced during that time. The ancient.
Right.
So you get a stoic quote, you're going to get something from my life, and you're going to get a scripture, and I tie them all together.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. You're going to learn a little bit about me. You're going to learn how to translate or understand the scripture that I put in there, and you're going to understand what it means to stand on stoic virtues and tie it all together.
I loved how you put the spiritual devotion piece, then you had the leadership lesson,
Mhm.
right? And then you have the challenge to the reader in every chapter,
Yes, because you can.
right?
You talk. Go ahead.
It's like I to myself, I kept saying, well, what's next? Like, what's the next one gonna say? Because it kept you in it. But like I ask you this, at the end of each chapter, you said, so now pray,
Mhm.
right? Now, is that your writing?
That's my prayers. Yes,
They are phenomenal.
my prayers from what I want the reader to get, and I want them to pray for it and think about it. And
I'm like,
here's the
I'm
thing.
reading them saying, did he take these from somebody? Did he write? Like, these were so good.
Coach Randy Chambers. He's one of my other spiritual leaders. He works for several universities and colleges and
Yeah.
NFL teams, and he was the first person I sent my manuscript to. Like, I trusted him so much. He has a great story, and I only put my prayer in a few chapters. Someone real deep when I really talk about my life. And he said, Gus, why did you not put the prayer in every chapter? I said, I have them. I just took them out. I just thought I thought the reader would think they were corny. I just think,
No, they're awesome.
he said, no, put in every one. I said, I have them right here. I said, I texted him right away. He said, why didn't you take them? I said, I just felt the reader, I'm putting, when I put this book together, this one right here came out in July, right? Because my impression is I want college football programs, college student athletes to sit around each other with each other and have a book study, learn something. It's small and short.
Yep.
Next one's going to drop in September. During that time, most college kids are traveling. College coaches are traveling.
Yep.
Pick a book they can travel and read on the airplane, stuff like that. So that's why the timing is important. But yeah, it's just
How about if you put you make your own book of just the prayers?
Yeah, 'cause that's possible. It's a lot. Look, I
That's
remember my
I mean, because
publisher.
those are mini stories.
Yeah,
You know what
100%.
I mean? And you just call it the big dog's
Hey, a fun,
prayers,
fun story about my publisher. So her name is Mary Schwein, and she's a 70-year-old lady, little old lady.
right?
And here's funny. Like I said, guys, I'm not making this up when I say God has His hand in your life. Mary, when I first reached out to her and emailed and called her, she wrote me back. Her family is from Berwick, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I researched and Googled her while I was in Nebraska looking for a book publisher. And I found Mary. And look at connection. She's very familiar who I was, knew everything about Berwick, and her family's from Berwick. And we talked at a coffee shop for hours just about the connection that we have. Listen to me, I typed in my phone
Yeah.
publishers in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's all I typed. Her name was the first one popped up. She had a small little website, not a big company, little old lady, 70 years old, and yeah, and now it's one of my best friends, man. We,
That's
we talk all day.
that's awesome. So I'm gonna go backwards a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Because so far we're talking about all these really cool things, and if you're open to it,
yeah,
I just want to touch on this one part in your book that just hit me. Um, when you lost your teacher certificate, I think it was,
yeah. Oh yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah,
right? And it could have been the end. It could have been like, I'm done, you know, but I'm gonna guess it pushed you to do more and to fix the problem. Can you talk about how you handled that and really what happened there? Because that, to me, I'm reading the book, I'm like, holy crap. Like,
yeah.
what happened? What's gonna happen now?
I didn't know what happened, but I knew I was going to fix it. And at that time, when I first moved to Florida, I went to Florida because my wife was got her chance to go do some stuff for herself because she followed me around all those years, and we moved down there. Didn't know anyone down there. My father-in-law, they were down at the time. And at that time, I went to three different high schools and applied to all three, and they all wanted me. That was a different time. Palm Bay, Egali, and Melbourne, all on the rivals, and I went right to Melbourne, right in the middle. So I got a temporary teacher certificate, and I hadn't finished my master's degree yet, which would eliminate all that stuff. I didn't get it done because I was focused on football at that time. I was
Yep.
coaching, strength and conditioning, driving guys to camps. And when time ran out for me to get it done, I didn't get it. I didn't pass the test, and I didn't have enough time to retake a test to start the next season. So at that point, that summer, you stop getting paid,
Mm.
and then you're looking at bills piling up, more and more piling up, more piling up, and you try to do little small odd jobs, helping out, pressure washing people payment. I left a lot out now. Come on, you pressure washing payments and cleaning out, pools and all that stuff like this in Florida. Big old guy down there getting stuff done and just
What did that do to you mentally?
motivated me to go get some stuff done, motivated me to hit the reset button and go get it and
Yep.
figure out a way. And that's why education is so important. So I have multiple degrees. I have two master's degrees. I'm getting my doctoral degree right now. And no one can ever tell me no that I can't pass the test or have a certification.
Says the non-qualifier that I
I'm
have two
qualified.
master's degrees and a doctorate. That is just
So
it's just,
all that,
I'm gonna curse for a second on this. That's a bunch of bullshit that these systems that are in out there that they can put a label on somebody like that to say you're a non-qualifier. What is that? Look at what's happened. And sometimes like for it's rare, but sometimes those labels push people like you to prove the world wrong.
100%. And a lot of times I say, oh, I'm not doing to prove anybody wrong, but at the end of the day, I want to prove myself right because I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And the next thing is they're going to fall in place and be there. But those
Yeah.
same people that said I couldn't do it, not here. I do have a lot of confidence. They sat down asking for autograph. They sat down, at some point, they on TV cheering for me when they said I couldn't do it. So they're just the naysayers. They're
Yeah.
around everywhere. You know
Yeah.
until they need you.
Yeah. So is there a what's next for you yet?
Yeah, I'm going to be an AD. That's what's next.
Okay.
I'm going to be an AD. I'm going to have a strong athletic program. I'm going to hire some great people.
Whatever you do, bring me with you.
I'm going to have some great staff development times, man. Like I have a following of coaches that I've hired over the years that
Yeah.
they love me. I love them, but I know they're hanging around waiting for what's next for us. And they know I'm going to
Yeah.
get it And some smart young men from all over the country, and we have our unique little crew that we have, and sometimes I tell them, hey guys, you got to go and have your careers. I don't know what's going to happen. Don't wait around for Gus. You know, you can get this done, do that.
Right.
Three of them are finishing their doctoral degrees right now with me, and these guys are strength coaching, and like I said, if you're working at a university and they're paying you a salary, right? There's more to your benefits than just a salary. Look at the whole package. Most of these schools will pay for your education, will give you free
Yeah.
classes for you. And a lot of people don't see that. Oh man, this school's only giving me $60,000. Only $60,000? Look at the whole package. Look at everything. Can you and your family take credits at that school for free? Yes. That's not only $60,000, big for them education. Look how much it costs to go to school
Yeah.
we are serving at.
Right.
So I get, they'll give you credit not just for you, but for your entire family.
Yeah.
When people don't see that. So if you're working at a university, you're working somewhere and an organization is going to pay for you to go back to school and better yourself, do it. Because once you get paid, once you get that degree, they got to respectfully, raise your pay.
Yeah. They got to raise your pay and they can never take it.
They can't ever take it. You'll have a
Yeah.
degree where you go. So yeah,
So, how do you want to be remembered?
somebody who cared, seriously, somebody who cared to put time in for me. And I think we're talking about legacy. Why am I doing right now? I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I have two grandsons, Dakota and Travell. One and my oldest grandson is 4. When I'm gone, I want all the people that I work with or serve with to tell them stories about how great I was to them,
That's cool.
what I did in their life, and I mean that. So that's why he's leaving these books running for my son. You see my son saying, "Yes, sir." I know that he's going to. I know that. So when we hang up this call, you see my son, he'll answer you the same way 10 years from now. That's not just something that's just it's not it's not what you can do for people, it's how you make them feel after you leave their presence. And that's
Yeah.
the goal.
And you know what was cool when you say, "Hey, come on over, say hello." Do you know how many kids was, "No, I'm not doing that."
No, that's not happening.
You know.
No.
So Gus, man, we've talked about a ton of stuff, and I could talk to you probably for 5 more hours, but I know you got a big day coming up, daughter getting married, so I want to let you go. But is there anything we haven't touched on you think we should hit before we wrap it up?
Uh, I thought it was a really good shot. I think we can keep talking, like you said. But anything I want to hit is like don't judge your book by its cover. And one thing about athletes, working with athletes, all of us, girl, male, boy, whatever you want to call it, female, any athlete, we all want the same thing. We want to be loved. We want to be talked to. We want to be held accountable. We want to be noticed.
Yeah,
Sometimes we hide it. We mask it through what the world tells we should do. Don't let Instagram and social media shape the lives of our future, man. We got to do it as people. It's never the job that people don't like. It's always the people. So be the person everybody like. I love the fact that when our transfer portal opens, guys don't want to go because we have great people in our building in Nebraska.
yeah.
Hard for guys to want to leave us because of the people we have in the building. They love being around us, and that's it. So treat people the right way, man.
That's it. You treat people the right way. They like you said, they don't want to leave.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You make people feel good, feel wanted, feel, like you said, feel loved and liked and noticed. They're not going anywhere,
not at all.
you
Not at
know?
all.
Well, Gus, man, this has been great. Again, the book itself, it was a phenomenal read. Highly recommend it. I'm gonna put a thing on LinkedIn with my top 10 takeaways and a little video on it. And I hope the thing just blows up and you sell hundreds of thousands of copies. I don't mean that just for the financial side, which would be nice, but just the impact it's going to make and the ripple effect it's going to have just out across the board in the athletic college world, professional world, or just regular traditional student world. They should read it too.
Anybody want to build their mind, want to
Yeah.
stretch their mind, So for not you want to master your own mind. That's it. Because if you don't know who you are, this world will make you what you want to be. Any job, if you don't know who you are as a person, you can get under a boss or some type of supervision, and they'll make you a carbon copy of them. You don't want to be that. So you got to find a way. Once you know who you are, you can bring your leadership's message, your boss, or whatever you want to call them, your boss, your supervisor, their message through your words, your own way, make it happen because you know who you are, and that's it. And if you want to, you always can grow spiritually. That can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And let's build better leaders. Not no
Yeah.
leaders do. I don't have anybody on my staff.
Hmm.
I don't give them anything that I haven't done or won't do. My hardest thing as a leader is delegating because I want to get everything done. Not that they can't do it. I just enjoy doing it. I want them to see me doing the work. I
Well,
want
you lead by example.
I want my guys to see me out at community service sweating. I want my guys to see me writing stuff out and planning. I want them to see me do these things. Not that they can't do it, because I'm saying this is how you do it. I want to show or leave them an example. When I'm gone, you got it. You can go get it done. You can have it.
Well, what's what's that saying that most people they don't hear as much as they see,
Yep, 100%. That's
you know?
it.
They don't listen, they don't hear as much of what you talk about as much as they see what you do. Well, listen, Gus, you are a prime example of leading by example, and we connected through the LinkedIn world, which is,
Yeah.
we collided and we came together. And man, I am so happy to have you on this show, for my 100th episode.
100 episodes. Let's go. Congratulations to you. And I want to say, look, my LinkedIn is filled with people hitting me up and asking me questions all the time. They usually don't go anywhere. A lot of them, hey, hire me for this. But like I said, I don't do these podcasts. I do it for, like, Ed is one of my guys. Like, I've been helping out for years. And his
Yeah,
message, hey, let's build player development. I did it for strength on the strength spectrum years ago when I didn't have all these social media platforms. So
yeah,
my ultimate goal was to make sure everybody knows about player development. But then when I seen yours in there and I opened up again, I'm like, man, I gotta, why not? Just like putting the book out.
yeah,
Why not? Because I wasn't going to do it. I
yeah,
said, oh, I've listened to me, Jeff. I pray right now. I hesitate putting it out, and I have more. I had 30 chapters in this one. I had 30 chapters in here. You only got 15 of them, and I pulled them out. Why? No, I'm not doing it. Just, they need to hear this stuff.
yeah,
The same things that people write me for on I will open my LinkedIn up. People don't know that. If you do, you do. If you don't, now you know. I open my LinkedIn up once every while and I say, hey, if you want to ask me questions, I'll do a Zoom call with you. Just come back to any questions you want to ask. And I open up to any people don't even know. I hired one of my assistants from that because he would reach out to me so many times, and the kid was so sharp. Now he's
yeah.
working at the University of Nebraska.
That's so cool.
So, and I'm not going to, you don't limit yourself. Don't hold yourself back. God gave us all talents and abilities to get stuff done. So go ahead and use those talents and abilities He's given you. We call them provision. Use your provision. Go get it done.
Well, you're getting it done, man.
Appreciate you.
You are getting it done, and I can't wait till the next book to come out. And you know what? I can't wait to see you get hired as that AD and the staff that you're going to build. And just take me with you.
I got something. No, but here you said I got something else for you. I know we can take something, but I got something I might need you for. And
Okay.
that's in Nebraska.
Okay.
Talk about what you talk about. Get these
Yeah.
guys. I need different voices in my room. Really,
All
well,
you got to tell me is when. You just
got
tell me when, man, and I'm there.
we had a financial literacy meeting on Wednesday. So we do this all the time. I don't just do
Okay.
one. I bring in different perspectives from people, and I know what you do. I know how good you are at it. I need you, come out to Nebraska and bless these guys, man. And if you can get one, it's better than none.
I'll be there. So Gus, thanks for being on the show. This has been a truly a pleasure, and I can't wait for the whole world out there to hear your story and read your book. It's just a phenomenal thing, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you for this platform. Thank you, boss.